Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Agency. Today I have with me Natasha Golinsky with On Purpose Projects. And we had a really good conversation the other day, and I'm really excited to have her on the show. Thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, thanks, David. I'm really excited.
Awesome. Well, when we talked before, you'd mentioned that you got started as a management consultant who didn't have any dev experience. But then you went from, hiring an Upwork developer, back when you first started things to today, like running a full stack team. Can you talk a little bit about that journey?
Oh my gosh, I am like the quintessential accidental agency owner. It's like I have a lot of colleagues of mine who run dev agencies, and they were developers or they were programmers or they worked in computer science or something like that. And I remember they would tell me these stories about how they had built their agency. And my story was like quite a bit different, where I was a management consultant. I was working with a client. I was actually working in the nonprofit sector. And my client was like, can you find someone to help me fix my website? So I went to Upwork, no idea what was going on. I'm like, I need a WordPress something. I didn't know what WordPress was. Hired a guy, $5 an hour. And then we ended up fixing that site. And then he's like, could your guy do my partner's site? And then he did that one and then that one. And then all of a sudden I was like, wait a second. And this was 10, 11 years ago. So, it was a very different day. This was like before responsive development and mobile responsiveness and, all those sorts of things. And I don't know, it was back in the day. And then I just, as we got busier, I realized I needed a web designer. And then I hired a friend of mine who was, an artist. She'd never designed a website. And so we brought her in and I paid for a bunch of training for her to get trained in web design. And then I hired another guy who was a back-end developer and he had never worked front-end. And I'm like, could you figure it out? And it just kind of evolved. And then 10 years later, I was running a team of 14 people, having never built a website in my life. So it's kind of a very funny story. It's definitely not the typical, for sure. So
do you feel like what helped it keep on going was just that, was the market good? Is that why there was like a steady stream of business, or was it you're doing good work and that just kind of led to more referrals?
I think my background is all in direct sales, pre-working in tech. I had always worked in sales. So because I wasn't a developer and couldn't actually be doing the deliverables, my job was always the marketing. So I think because I wasn't like weighed down with having to do the code and do the deliverables, I've always been in biz dev. So I was able to keep the marketing going. So unlike some people who freelance and then agency, if something goes wrong, they jump back into the deliverables and they would get then they can't keep the marketing running, where I was always able to stay front end and keep the marketing going. So definitely, I think it's become more and more competitive a field. I know during COVID, everyone and their dog became a web developer, and we had to make a really hard pivot in the direction we were going to go as a company. But definitely now I would say it is more competitive, and obviously with AI and people thinking they can vibe code things, which we know isn't really true. If you want something that actually performs properly, but yeah, no, I could keep it going because I was never in the code per se, if that answers the question.
Yeah, no, that's great. I thought that was really interesting, because I do know a lot of technical founders where they have a hard time really fully getting out of the client work and moving over to just being kind of like the face and the voice of the brand and doing kind of the sales and marketing side of things, or even when they get out of sales, to just be kind of like the person who's in charge of the voice and kind of the presence of the brand online. And so you kind of have this forcing mechanism in your case where it's like, well, I can't jump into the client side of things.
Do anything.
So, yeah. You're like, I'm going to do what I can do and what I know, and just work on doing that.
Yeah.
Well. That's great.
Yeah. For the first 10 years, my role was threefold. It was management, marketing, and money. And now I'm marketing, but I'm not in management anymore. And I'm quasi out of the money as well. So I'm almost 100% into the only doing biz dev now.
That's awesome. Well, why don't we spend a little bit of time there, just because I think a lot of agencies, especially dev agencies, marketing is kind of a mystery, or it's a black box of like, what are you supposed to do for this? I mean, that's part of
Mhm.
why I get work, is because people, on the more technical side, maybe they're more left brain, and so marketing is a little bit more of a mystery to them. What can you share, that you would say, like, what's worked in your situation?
For sure. I think it's like you probably see this all the time, like in the work that you do as a coach, but it's like web development is so huge an industry. And I think a lot of clients don't understand the difference between, for example, like a front-end developer, a back-end developer, a full stack developer, someone who can work with Elementor to be like a page builder versus someone who can like code versus Shopify to WordPress. And so I feel like an end consumer is going to generally be looking for, oh, I need a web developer, which we know is so general, right? So I feel like one of the things that's really helped us as a team is to really know what type of web developers we were, right? So, and we personally are like a full stack web team, development team. I always say we, but it's, from the story, it's not me, it's them. We're like a full stack web development team. So that means we do a lot of work with code, custom, complex, corporate, e-com. Those are like our 5 C's. So like, we definitely we're not the team you bring in when you need like an Elementor $500 landing page built. We're the team that you bring in when there's a migration that's like multi-5-figure migration from 50,000 SKUs. Like we're more like that kind of team. We don't do the creative, we don't do the copy, we don't do the SEO. We are purely the tech. So I think that like one of the things that helps in marketing is knowing like what you do, that's what your lane is. Because, like I see so many developers who are like, they do web and they do mobile apps and they do SaaS and they do, maybe they do like other things. And it's very difficult to sell services when you're really wide, because the consumer gets confused, right? Like in my experience, like I put off niching for so long, like probably the first 6 years, because I was like, I just was really worried about what that meant. But as soon as I understood, okay, what we do, we are a knife. We are a knife that does full stack dev in a very complex, where there's a complex requirement. And then that made my marketing easier, right? Because then I could identify. So whether it was like I was looking for, because for a long time we got a lot of projects off Upwork as a dev team, like people looking for very complex solutions. So we did that. I've done a lot of work with partnership, white label situations with other agencies who might have a front-end person, but they don't have like a full stack person. Yeah, like I was saying, during COVID, everyone and their dog became a front-end web developer. And I made a very conscious decision as a team at that point to be like, no, we are making a hard pivot and we're going custom. Like we are not going to compete as a commodity. Like I'm not going to compete with someone who can work for 10, 20, 30, $40 an hour. Like that's just not sustainable for a North American business. Like there's no margin there, right? So we made a very hard pivot. So, and that makes it sometimes harder to sell, because a lot of times when we're pricing work, we come in really high. Like we come in too high. If we're being quoted to build like an Elementor site, we're probably going to be triple the price. But, it's just, you have to kind of pick your poison, right? So that would be my number one tip, is if you're running a dev shop, know which problem you're solving, know which knife in the drawer you are, and then you find people who need that problem solved. Does that answer the question, David? Like,
no, totally.
I don't know if that is what you're.
And that aligns, really well with a lot of the advice I share is, like pick the problem that you solve best for a segment of your clients. Like I know when you're first getting started, it's hard to like figure out who you do your best work for. So like what I like to say is, maybe when you're going from 0 to 1 million or something, you're still like taking on all like a variety of types of projects, probably through your own network or referrals. And then at a certain point, you're like, oh, well, if I want to keep on scaling this, I need to kind of figure out what makes me different than everybody else. Cause now I'm starting to like lose deals with people who didn't know me before. And so
Totally,
I think, like that whole knife conversation, I think is super important when you're starting to like try to get people who don't know you into the pipeline.
Yeah. And to your point, it can take a while. It's not like it took us years to figure out like our lane, our spot, right? Because I think you have to figure out, it's kind of like that concept of called the ikigai. I don't know if you've ever heard that, but it's basically there's this like trifecta of like, okay, what do you like to do? What makes money and what helps other people, right? It's like this trifecta. And so part of it is my team really likes that. Like they really like complex web apps, custom, like, you know, custom e-com, like Shopify Plus, like they really like that kind of work, like building stuff in React. Like that's, if I were to send them like a Divi site, they're going to be like they'll do it, but they're not going to be into it. Right. So it's kind of like, or, you know, we had this like front end Webflow project we worked on and it was for a referral and we're like, we did it, but my team's kind of like, okay, they're just like, they'll do it, but they're not like, that's just not what fires them up. They like complex critical thinking projects. And same thing for me. Like I love creating really cool things. You know, I like seeing that. I look at my team when their work is done. I'm like, fuck, like, how'd you do that? That's amazing. Like, that's so cool. So I think that's just part of it. And then obviously the more expensive you become and the more specialized you are, like your market for that is less and less and less. But I think that's what a brand is, right? Like that's your positioning, is you're not everything. You're known for something, right?
Yeah.
So
you're a specialist in some particular area.
You're a specialist. Yeah, you're a specialist. Yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Well, you mentioned the team and kind of what fires them up. That kind of brings me to the next question I wanted to ask, which is like, you've had like 100% retention for a large portion of your time as an agency. I know that can't be, that's not the fact for like other agencies out there. Can you talk a little bit about what you feel like you did differently or you've done differently that has enabled you to have that amazing retention rate of your team?
Yeah, no, thank you. This is like something that's so important that I'd love to talk about is, so yeah, I've been running a web development agency, like I said, for about almost 11 years. I had almost 100% retention. I had one person leave the team in a decade. And then my second person left at like 10 and a half years. And both of them went on because they got like a job offer. They didn't want to freelance anymore. So we're 100% remote team, 100% contractors. I have 0 employees. And the thing that I've done is retention to me is all about making sure that what your person that you're hiring wants, that they can get it working for you. So one of the things that I do when I hire somebody is, I mean, first of all, there's a hiring process about like making sure that they have the right skills, they have the right personality, that they're actually going to fit on the team. I mean, is one thing, but the most important part of retention is like really knowing what your team wants. Like, why are they here? What are they looking to achieve? Right. And it can be something like my project manager, like my operations manager, she wants to work 25 hours a week because she has a 3-year-old son. She wants something she can do from home and make great money because she's a specialist project manager. She makes good money. That's what she wants. I'm like, okay, so I need to make sure that her job aligns to what she wants. And then if she's getting what she wants, she's going to stay, right? I'm paying her a great wage. She's doing challenging work. She's helping people. She likes my team. She's able to work around her kid's schedule. Okay. You know, I have another guy on my team and he's like, this year, like 2026, I really want to work on my React skills. I'm like, okay. Cause same thing. Like, so I'm like, so I'm like consciously aware of like, okay, putting him on React projects and helping him develop his skill set and giving him time off, and no one works weekends and no one work. Like, so to me, I feel like if people are getting what they want out of working with you, why would they leave? Right. But I think like a lot of agency owners, they don't even have that conversation, right? They don't know. They just treat this person coming in, they're providing a service, they're doing a job, and that's the end of it. But it's like, okay, if I hired somebody, you know, like we recently last year hired a new QA guy, and he's got 2 kids. And we're like, what do you want? Like, what can we help you achieve by being on this team? And he's like, I want this, 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 and this, and this. And so me and my operations manager are constantly aware, okay, like boom, 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 boom. Like, you know, like are we doing it? Are we helping him get it? And, you know, things like that. And then there's like little things like, for example, like half my team is Muslim, you know, and so this week a lot of them are going to be off work because it's like their holiday or whatever. It's like, okay, I can respect that. I can know that like, I respect their holidays, religious holidays. And I respect no one on my team. We structured work. So no one works weekends. No one works evenings. Everyone gets paid above market wage. There's no drama on the team. We have really excellent communication, excellent project management. This is one thing that I feel too, doesn't get talked about enough. Agency owners a lot of times will complain like, I can't find anybody good. And everybody's just like, there's nobody good out there. And I was like, there's 6 billion people in the world. Like there are good people out there. But I think a lot of the time, us as the project managers, us as the leaders, account managers, whatever word, is we do a terrible job setting up these people for success. So if our PM is crazy and we're like WhatsApping and emailing and Slacking and Google Driving information and files and stuff, and it's like chaos and the person can't do their job, of course they're going to do a bad job. So I think like us as the project managers, I'm just going to say project managers, but it's like us as the project managers, how good are we? Are we setting up this person to succeed? Do they understand the expectations? Have they been involved in the estimation process? Do they have everything they need? Do they have the access they need? Like as a dev shop, was the design run by them before it was shown to the client? Can this actually be done? Little things like that, right? Yeah. But it's like respecting the brilliance of the people on the team. And I don't know, to me, it's just like, especially in the web development world, like developers are so smart. Generally, they're so brilliant. They're so incredible at what they do. And we just like, so many people just treat them like, just pump out the code. And it's like, no, like it's a person. It's a real person. Like, what does this person want? And how can we help them get it working for us? And again, like to repeat, like, why would they leave if they're getting what they need, right? So I don't know. That's my secret sauce of great retention with contractors. So
yeah, it sounds like at the end of the day, it comes down to what do they need personally and professionally to feel like they're fulfilled in what they're doing. And in like some agencies, I think they think only about what the agency needs in order to quote unquote succeed. Whereas if they actually just made sure that they were thinking about the team members and what they need and were able to be flexible around that, they'd have much higher retention, which ultimately like that affects the bottom line too. Cause if you have a solid team that works well with each other, like you're not going to have turnover that's going to affect client work and have, clients cancel because so-and-so changed hands or something. So, it maybe seems like it might seem like something where it's like, oh, why do we have to worry about that? We'll replace them or something. But at the end of the day, it actually does make a big difference to your clients, if they have consistency.
Yeah. Well, I agree. Like to me, I look at too, like, cause it's not like a philanthropic choice, right? It's like, I look at churn is so expensive. Once you have someone who's really good and they can keep up that quality of work, that creates your brand, that strengthens your brand because you're like inconsistent quality is a huge brand killer, right? So if you have a team of people that are strong, they're trained in your system, they know the people, the designers know how to work the developers know how to work with QA, everyone knows the project manager, everyone knows everybody's deal, like everybody knows how to communicate with everybody, and you can keep this thing moving forward and everybody's on board, everybody's happy. That builds your brand right there. Like you have so much more control of your output when you don't have bringing in new people all the time, right? Like our Q4 last year was just a zoo. We were just, for whatever reason, everything was just like hitting at the same time and we were slammed. Everyone was working through the holidays. Like that never happens, but we were so busy. I had to bring in 2 new guys just to help. One of our guys was sick. We had to bring in someone new. And oh my God, like trying to work with someone new, I'm like, oh my God, thank God I do not have to do this all the time. It was so stressful. Like he didn't know the deal. He didn't know the protocol, the etiquette, because we had to just put someone in really quickly. And luckily the job got done, but I was like, oh my God, if I had to do this on the regular, I would be on edge as the founder all the time. And so totally, like to your point, David, it's a win-win. They win, but then I get that stability in delivery, in consistency, in cost of churn, in cost of onboarding. It's a win across the board. It's not just for them. I do it because it helps me too, for sure.
Yeah, like doing the right thing pays off in the long run is what it really comes down
to.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure. And then they're happy too, right? Like, sorry, go ahead.
Well, you mentioned, you were kind of talking about this, but you mentioned earlier on that you're not very technical. but you lead a technical team. So how does that dynamic
Yeah.
work? Like when you're not highly technical yourself, but you lead technical folks.
Like in what respect? Like how does that work? Like on a legit, like on a day-to-day project management level, or?
Yeah, I mean, like is that a challenge, leading really technical people when you're not technical yourself?
Thank you. No, okay, great question. Yeah, I'm definitely not technical. I tried to set up a Bluetooth adapter in my car the other day, and I couldn't handle it. And I was calling my kids. I was like almost in tears trying to set up a Bluetooth adapter in my car. So I am not technical at all. How that's worked is I've always been really honest with the people that I've hired. Like, look, my lane is my job is to make sure you have a job. Sales, biz dev, networking. Your job is to do the thing. And for me, it hasn't been a problem, because whenever I onboard somebody, I make it very clear, like, you are here because I can't do it. I cannot have this conversation. I do not know how to explain anything to a client. Like, this is a technical team and my lane is this. And I used to, like, way back in the day, I had this guy I hired, and he was getting really frustrated that I didn't know what he was trying to explain to me about something. And I was trying to explain it to the client, and I was trying to be like, looking all smart, and I didn't get it. And he was just, and I said to him, I'm like, look, dude, like, my job is to make sure you have a job. Do you want me to do your job, or do you want me to do my job? And he's like, do your job, like, do your job. And so that's always kind of been the culture on my team, is that they know I don't know. Our team culture, because of that, has evolved to be very like Scrum style, in that we all work together and we all work with the client. So our client actually will get access to the whole crew. So they'll get the project manager, they'll get the developer, they'll get like QA, and like we all work together, because me and my ops person, neither one of us are tech people. Like, neither one of us are technical people at all. Like, we could not build a website to save our life. So I find that when there's a lot of respect, like, I don't try to micromanage my team. I'm like, I trust you because I can't do this. I have to trust you that you know what you're doing. We have QA people to check their work, like, trust but verify, right?
Yeah.
If I have to hire somebody new, I pay one of my senior guys to interview somebody new, because I can't do a code review. I can't check their work, right? So I really lean really heavy on my team. And they just know that my job is not that job. My job is to keep this train moving.
That makes sense. It's like you all have distinct lanes, and like, they respect your lane, and that you do your thing well, and you respect that they do their thing well, and everyone's kind of working together to move things forward.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, makes sense. Well, fast forward to kind of the big thing that kind of almost derailed things in your life. We talked about this previously, but you got diagnosed with breast cancer right when you were ready to scale. How did that whole thing work? Like, how did your team hold things together? What did you learn from that whole experience?
Oh my God, that was such a crazy experience. Yeah, in 2024, it was September 2024. No, it was like June of 2024. I knew in September, I have 3 kids. My kids were all going to be in high school. I was so excited. I'm like, my kids could drive. I'm like, all of a sudden, saw the light at this end of this parenting tunnel. Logistically, like, I didn't have to drive 20 hours a week to back and forth to schools. And I was like, okay, this is my window. I can, like, really lean into my business now, focus on my career, and really grow to that 7-figure mark. And I hired a coach, a woman I knew who'd built a $1 million Shopify agency in 2 years, female founded, 7 figures. I'm like, she's my person. We did all the contract, business coaching. It was all in place. And then in September, I was diagnosed with aggressive stage 2 breast cancer. I was like, this is awesome. This is fantastic timing, right? So I had to, obviously that had to go on pause. We had to end the coaching plan. And I had 6 weeks before I was going to be going in for a bilateral mastectomy reconstruction, which is a really big surgery. And so I had a colleague of mine, a friend of mine, who was actually my client, had been my client for 4 years. I knew her, she knew my team. She was a project manager, but again, not a technical project manager. So knew nothing about the inner workings of hosting and DNS and CMS. And, she didn't know any of that, but she knew my team and I knew she could organize, right? So I was like, I need you to come in, at least get me through my treatment, which would have been like 7 months. And I remember I was like terrified because I had for 10 years run the whole thing myself. It was all in my head. I had never created any kind of exit plan or any kind of, what's it called? Succession planning. I'd never done any of it. So she came in and literally I onboarded her, like, not even kidding. Like I was just like high on pain medication, drugged out from chemo. And I went through all this treatment and I was training her through it. And she did an incredible job. Team kept moving, things kept moving. And then when I came back to work full time in May of 2025, she was like, I got the ops, it's covered. I'm done. Like, I don't need you in the day to day. And May 2025 was our second biggest month of my career. And so my team killed it. They kept moving. I let them know, hey guys, like she's here, I'm not here. They all took her, like happily brought her in as like a new family member. Not like, I shouldn't say that, we don't have like a family vibe on the team, but you know what I mean? Like we brought her in and they all respected her. The clients were fine with working with her. And it was crazy. It was a crazy, crazy situation, but yeah, we did it. And now I'm out, now I'm out. I don't have to talk. I haven't talked to clients in a year, which is amazing. It's a different life when you don't have to talk to clients.
Well, I mean, so it sounds like you're focused more now on all the potential clients, and they're focused on basically once they become clients, they're managing things from there. I guess what advice would you give? Yeah. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, what advice would you give to other agency owners who, like, on what they could do now just to be more prepared for the day that they can't show up, whether that's by choice or not?
Yeah, definitely getting your ops out of your head. This is something I wish I would have done. Like I wish, and I know so many of us as like alpha go people, it's very hard for us to sit down and like think it through. And what I recommend to people now is like, okay, hire someone like on Upwork, a freelancer, an assistant, a somebody, and just like mind dump, like create screencast recordings of what you're doing throughout the day. Like take a week, record all the things you're doing. Like don't go out of your way to like, oh, today I'm going to record this. But it's like, as you're doing it, record it and then send it to someone else. And their job is to organize it and turn it into SOPs. Because I don't know about you, but I do not have the patience to actually sit down and like step 1B, like I cannot. But there's a lot of people in the world who think very systemically like that. So that's what I just like, take a week, take 2 weeks, whatever, however much time it is to kind of encapsulate what you do as the leader and just get someone to write it down. Get all certain things like, she didn't have access to my LastPass. So she didn't have passwords to so many things, like simple things, like make her an admin, make someone else an admin in your password manager, right? Like someone you trust, obviously. Make sure that you have everything. Like, where does she find the contracts? Like, she was like, oh my God, like where, I'm like, oh, like, I'm like, and we were just like scrambling. And so it's like, at least have somebody like email you, be like, look, I need all the contracts, send them over. And then you can be like, and someone else can like put it into folders and color coding and tags. And because I don't think like that, but put it all, have someone help you put it all together so that God forbid you can't be there. Someone else has access to everything, a client list, who would contact people for these clients. Like, what is the rate that you charge these clients? Like, she was like, what is this client? Like, I don't know, like, how do I make this invoice? Like I felt like, so it was a lot of scrambling around, and someone will know how to create succession planning. So bring that person in and let them help you do it.
Yeah. Basically get as much out of your head that is in there that nobody else knows, so that they can actually do things without you.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah, because it's like it's not even just an illness. Like I was lucky that I was around. Like, we could do phone calls or Slack messages. I know we may have been in bed, like, wiped out, but I have a colleague and she was hit by a car and she was in a coma for 2 weeks and her team had no idea where she was or what to do. It's like, oh my God, like, and luckily, her mom called somebody, and it kind of figured it out, but oh my God, like, we don't know if it's going to happen, right? It's not just like, oh, I'm sick or, oh, I'm busy. It's like, no, like something could go wrong, really wrong. So yeah, having that other person who knows what to do if you're not back to work in like 24 hours or whatever. Yeah. Crucial.
Yeah. So on a lot of time, it seems like it's not even just about, oh, if you want to go on vacation or, oh, if you get sick or something like that. It's like, you don't know what could happen. And if you want your business to keep on going, like, this is something you should be doing as soon as you can, not just like wait until, when the time is right. It's like, especially like you were saying, you can just, record Loom videos to start brain dumping. And that's a pretty passive thing that you could do and then hand it off to somebody from there.
Yeah, exactly. And from a Loom video, they can take out the transcription and turn it into steps and do screenshots from your video or upload that whole video. And but no, I mean, I wish I'd started like 5 years ago, like it took me so long. It took me a decade to bring in my number 2 person. And I wish I had done it so much sooner because I look at what I'm able to do now when I'm not running projects and dealing with 2FA drama and scope creep and changing contracts. Like, oh my God, like it's a different life when you can actually lead instead of manage. It's a very different life. And I could never go back now. Like I could never go back to coordinating 2FA with a client. I would shoot myself, so it's exciting. But a lot of us hold out because it's expensive and it's hard and it's a lot. Like I tell people, like people hear my story and they think it was super smooth. And it's like, no, it was really hard. Like we lost clients of mistakes that she made because she didn't know. And I couldn't answer the phone or I was sick or like I couldn't, and we definitely lost clients and it was messy and expensive. But now, like it's done. It's, you know what I mean? There's always things to learn, but that valley of death learning curve, you have to go through that. And it's risky, right? It's very risky. And people mad at us and it's like, but then what? What's your alternative? Don't do it. Then what? You're trapped forever, right? It's one of those things you're going to have to do and just burn through it as fast as you can, right? And then I'm making sure that she is documenting all her process. So let's just say she goes on mat leave or something happens to her, or she's sick or she's whatever. Like, okay, I now have it for whoever could be the next person, right? Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah.
I honestly think this is great advice. Good lessons to like basically don't put this off. If you don't already have it in place, make sure you put it in place pronto. Well, this has been super, super fun. I appreciate you telling your story and, with all the ups and downs, I feel like that's pretty real to the agency life. And I guess for people who want to connect with you, if they're fellow agency people or they're people who, might need your services, white label or otherwise, what's the best way for people to follow up with you, get to know you?
Yeah. I just LinkedIn. LinkedIn is my spot. I'm always there. I post content every day. So just reach out on LinkedIn, say you saw me on the show, and I'd love to connect with you.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for coming on the show. I'm excited to stay in touch, hopefully. And this was a blast. Thanks for sharing your insights.
Thanks for having me, David.